You are listening to the ReRACEables Podcast.
Give you a nice little detour.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the ReRACEables Podcast, Season 37, Episode 10. We're almost at the finish line here, folks. I am your host, Tom. I am joined tonight by Nicole. What's up, Nicole?
Hello.
And Josh. What's going on, Josh?
How's it going?
And on the ReRACEables Podcast, we're recapping the latest episode of The Amazing Race from all the different angles. And our first point that we have to start with, the really disappointing result. I have to say goodbye to my number one team, my number one rank. I thought I had this one. We all put our number one teams down at the beginning of the season, thinking that we're going to be the one who nailed the winners. And I really thought I had it with Brett and Mark. I still say they were the best team. They just didn't have their best leg, and they're out. And I'm really, really bummed out by it.
I'm still in shock. I can't believe it.
I know. It's devastating. They had run flawless legs, yet one little direction mishap, 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes out of the way, you drop to the back of five teams, and they just couldn't rebound.
My condolences to you, Tom.
Thank you.
However, I have to say, you are totally we can't have this conversation. They are not the strongest team on the board. They were a weak team, Tom.
No, come on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they are a no contender, but they were not as strong as you're making them out to be. Where was the spark? They were just kind of lollygagging the whole way. They really did not know directions. Totally got lost. Kept saying they were going to come back, but where was their fight? They were not running anywhere. They were just kind of there. And even when they got eliminated, I think that's kind of what you saw. Just like, well, we did it, but we didn't make it.
I totally disagree. I mean, Mark had been money with directions. Every leg. Felt like that was one of their strengths. I feel like
They definitely ran everywhere.
yeah.
Even up all those spiral staircase, they ran up the spiral staircase.
There wasn't room for error in this leg, and they made the most error. And they made that error in the beginning, and they just couldn't recover from it enough. It kind of spiraled a little bit, especially when they were trying to follow Alyssa and Josiah after the detour.
Mm-hmm.
And that was not their game for 10 legs.
Yep.
And I think it really started at the head-to-head. They get there last.
Mm-hmm.
So they were ultimately only in the final head-to-head matchup, which was on the water jousting. Even there, Mark gets knocked off, and then they have to wait 10 minutes, which in this leg is big. So let's on the water joust and them having to actually compete one-on-one against one another.
Love it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was so fun to watch the teams actually compete against each other. I thought it was fun to have to grab the flags of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought that there was something about well, what I want to add is that I think that there's also something about the fact of having to wait for the team behind you.
Yes.
There was something that was kind of defeating and debilitating. You arrive there first, and yet you have to then catch up to the next place team. And it felt a way better equalizer than everyone just boarding the same flight. So I really enjoyed that. The one thing I did not enjoy is the name. Where is the road pun? I don't want a head-to-head. I want a crash collision. I want
yes
a
head-on collision.
Crash collision.
I guess they don't want to promote that.
Yeah, that's probably a good call. But I just don't like the name, but I like everything else.
I also really liked it. The only thing I want to say prior to them getting to this, where was the penalty for Han and Holden
Oh.
Right.
getting the non-elimination leg? They just immediately get equalized,
Yep.
and that's it.
BS.
Oh.
That made me angry because they should be out. They
Right.
shouldn't even be there.
I was waiting for that speed bump.
It never came.
I thought maybe it would have been Han and Holden would have been in the 5th position, like where Mark and Brett were. And there was just no penalty for finishing 5th in the non-elimination like last week. And I just don't understand that. I was trying to think back, was there the speed bump was the penalty for the not being the team that finished last on the non-elimination, right?
Yeah, when you had to do like a little challenge.
There was nothing.
And then the equalizer immediately to get onto the flights to Germany and then the train to Strausberg. And all the leads were all gone. And it's like, where was the penalty?
There was none.
I get it that it's the season of surprises and that the non-elimination was this big surprise. But
Like if I were one of the other contestants, I would have been pissed.
yeah, I would not have handled that well. Really, I mean, Han was the first team there. They were in first place instead of having to do a speed bump and potentially being a little bit towards the back of the pack, or having to do 13 cheeses at the
Or it would have changed
at the Root Info Challenge.
who Han was up against in the water jousting,
Right.
which could have changed the whole dynamic of everyone.
Yeah, I'd really like to know the decision and production on that one.
Just to add on water jousting, the sense of every team that lost one round won the next round.
Yep.
Seemed like it was one of those things that it was like, oh, next time I'll just spread my legs a little bit more and then I'll win. And then they did win. So I guess it was a hard enough challenge that you couldn't do it on the first try, but an easy enough challenge that it wasn't really that ridiculous.
And that adds to the getting Mark and Brett out piece of it. It was the right challenge. Like it had to have, by the time Han defeats Carson and is gone, then Carson's got to wait for Jonathan and Anna. Then they got to get on the boats. Then they got to set the boats up. Then they got to move the boats toward each other. One of them's got to fall in. They got to get the next guy. Then they got to get Josiah on the boat. Like that's just time that then Han is that much further down the race and Mark is not even there yet. And it's it's like this compounding time gap that you can't make up. When you think about it in those nuanced ways, it's kind of sucks. Kind of sucks, and it's just like, oh, it's not even a 2 out of 3. It's just one, boom, done, and that's it. Okay.
Do you not like it, or are you just mad that Mark and Brett are out?
I'm just mad that Mark and Brett are out.
Okay. But I do. One thing I was thinking about was what would be a good challenge for a head-to-head? Like this feels like a good one, but like if they were to bring back head-to-head next year, what could you do? Because it's got to be physically matching.
I don't understand how like the cheese thing wasn't a head-to-head.
Or like, I mean, when you think about a lot of Survivor challenges are head to head. 10% of your weight, starting weight, holding it the longest.
Right, but you
yeah, then whoever's in first is now 2 days ahead.
whoever gets 9 cheeses first, maybe then the next team has to get a 10th, and then the next team has to get an 11th. The next one has to get 12. Something like that where there's a head-to-head element in that way, but it's not at the mercy of like losing time because there's only one boat. It just seems like a really inefficient like phys ed class.
Mm,
And there's a bunch of kids just on the team that are just
yeah.
standing there instead of participating. The cheese thing, like you have 5 people with 5 different experts with 5 different trays of the 9, 10, 11, however many different cheeses. Whoever gets there first, 9 is done. Now everybody has to open up a 10th, and then so on. And it's like maybe that's a better way of competing head to head.
It sounds like you're looking at it to incentivize whoever's ahead, and what this challenge was is really hurting whoever's in last.
Yes, and the inefficiencies of it. You're relying on these people that are rowing the boats to turn the boat around and then row fast enough. Oh, this guy fell off the boat. Now we got to get him back on. Whatever, like these other external things, like they're not competing on how well those rowers in the boat can row.
Mm.
Right? We're watching them compete with each other.
Mm-hmm.
So like the jousting is the competition, not the rowers in the boat. There's other elements to that challenge that I think affected time-wise that it's just not what the nature of the head-to-head was about.
So if you had 2 rooms and each room had a puzzle, and you had teams 1 and 2 go in there and solve, whoever solves the puzzle comes out, stays on, or then goes. Whoever does it first. Whoever doesn't solve the puzzle has to wait for the next team and then go back into the rooms and solve 2 different puzzles.
Right.
And then whoever does that, and you're saying like the turnover is the part that really killed that.
Yeah.
Because what I'm thinking about is like if Han and Holden came in first, and then they lost the first round of jousting, and then they lost the second round of jousting, and then they lost the third round of jousting. That would be incredible TV. There's something really cool about like watching teams like just consistently not be able to make it. That would have been way more exciting. But I'm
Yes.
trying to think of a challenge that isn't physical that you can do head to head.
And then I'll go back to the cheeses. Like maybe it's just 5 and whoever gets the 5 first
Goes out and then
goes
5
out.
cheeses has to come back and has to get them.
Yeah, and then it's 5 different cheeses.
Yeah.
Something like that. Then you're actually just competing.
Well, yes, I hear you. I think that what you were saying about speed, though, is a detrimental factor. So I think speed should be part of the challenge.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is like, oh, to get to get the cheeses, like you might do slow and steady, and it might take 10 minutes to smell the cheeses, get the cheeses, and know that you're holding up the other teams, and do that. But if you have something like a puzzle that's like you have 30 seconds to do that, or like how high can you make a fire in 30 seconds? Right?
Mhm.
Like what is the in a set time period? Maybe that's what you need in
Yes.
order to keep it flowing.
Yes, that's right.
Moving through it.
That's what was missing. It was a time thing. It was a set time because you're relying on too many inefficient
Mhm.
factors that would have influenced the time, and I just don't know that that's fair.
It's the luck of the race, so.
I get that, but at this point, I feel like it's too important. One of the things that we have to talk about at the cheese identifying challenge is Alyssa and Josiah. Once again,
They
this
blew it.
this friggin' express pass.
How come no one knows how to use an express pass this season?
It's unbelievable.
Like, it seems like a straightforward thing.
Yeah. Yep.
You get to a task, you decide, nope, we don't want to do this, you immediately use it.
Yep.
That's it. None of this wishy-washy, let's try it. Oh no, we should use it. No, let's try one more time. No, let's
I
do
really believe in us.
Oh my gosh. Horrible.
Josh?
Horrible gameplay.
Josh, one word to describe Alyssa and Josiah's use of the express pass?
Bathroom.
Bathroom.
Tell us more.
Awful gameplay. It just made it. They just were so stupid in their decision making, and I think I've really liked them. I would totally be friends with them. You know, like I do want to like meet them. That would be so fun. But they are just not strong contestants in this game. They're
Wow.
just not. They are a weak team, and this is not the first time that they've shown. I mean, they were the only team that didn't know that they were in Germany.
For the competition, and you're like, guys, come on.
I'm still rooting for them to win. Like I like them.
Yeah, they seem great, but they're just not winners of the Amazing Race. Come on, Nicole.
I want them to win. You know what it is? I love love. And he loves her so much.
He really does.
Not that she doesn't love him, but like he loves her. And it warms my heart.
He didn't love her desire to use the express pass enough to just use the friggin' express pass.
But he knew that it was his wrongdoing. When they got to that mat,
True.
he knew. He knew he messed up.
And the thing what I took away from that is that he knew some French. And so he was like, "Oh, I could do this challenge."
Yes.
And she was like, "This sounds crazy. I can't do it." And he wasn't listening to her
No, he was
in
not.
that moment.
My word is baffling. 2 reasons. Number one, that they used the express pass to get 4th place. To get out of that challenge in 4th place, they used the express pass. That's number one. Number 2 is he couldn't read the emotional panic cues
Yes.
in Alyssa's face.
Yes.
I don't know. Like she literally had her hand like at her mouth. Like if I was going to show a 3-year-old a picture of fear, I would have screenshotted Alyssa after she's communicated to Josiah that she wanted to use the express pass.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I mean,
Absolutely right.
if they were the purple team, she would have literally been fear from inside out. That's how obvious it was, but he didn't see it. He didn't see it. Baffling. And you know what? I know we've had probably too much time discussing this freaking express pass. It's absurd. But this is why we have it.
Yeah. It would have been great TV. You show up, every team is there. You know that you are going to be ahead of every team by a significant amount because the team that has been there for 40 minutes was still there.
Use it. Boom. Next.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. Unbelievable. I want to talk about another team. Jonathan and Anna. We've had a interesting relationship with them, to say the least. Now, last week, I asked Nicole, Josh, are we rooting for Jonathan and Anna after their first place? They were working together to put the mandolin together. It was a beautiful thing. They were enjoying the detour. They were enjoying the race. How much are we not rooting
To
for Jonathan?
clarify, I was never rooting for them. I hate him. I think he's an awful person. And he's insufferable. I don't know how she puts up with him.
Yes.
How does she not just lose it?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
It's from all those hours at Domino's Pizza.
Oh my God.
Anna is a probably under the radar or not so obvious MVP pick for the entire season. On the self-drive on this episode, she was getting the directions. Mm-hmm. She was writing the directions down. She's holding the directions as she's driving the car across France.
While he's standing in the middle of the street saying, "You're taking too long and you're going to get us eliminated."
And while he's sitting in the back seat, backseat driving, or what is it?
Oh my God.
Being a backseat driver, literally from the back seat the entire time. Shout out Anna. Mm-hmm. She is getting my vote for MVP this season.
I mean, imagine if she was with like a positive, encouraging, capable person. Right. She would have soared to the top.
Yes. Yet they're
because
still
she
in
is
it.
carrying that team.
Are you surprised by them still being alive?
No, because they're just these cockroaches that don't go away.
Can't get rid
They
of them.
find a way.
There's
Josh?
something about their will to win. They both really, really want to win. They're both really competitive. And I think when we're doing preseason rankings, we talk a lot about how well people will work together.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they're willing to not work together. And I actually think they're both working independently at sometimes. But they care that much about winning that they don't really they're both pretty strong. Like they actually don't really even need each other. They just kind of like fight each other the whole way, but it actually they still climb to the top.
And I think it's another example of Anna knows that she has to lead the team. She knows that she knows what she's dealing with, and she knows that she's going to have to battle through it, and she's accepting that challenge, and then she's just going to do all the work anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something kind of freeing in that. She knows how to talk to him and just ignore him in other ways. Like the way when he was just berating her because he was in a negative headspace, really didn't have anything to do with her. She took her sunglasses off the top of her head. Did you see this? And she put them on because she wasn't going to show him her tears. That's how I read it.
And a signal of, I'm done having this conversation.
Yes.
I'm moving on.
Yes.
I'm forging ahead.
Right. Because I know how to tune you out, and I'm just going to focus on the problem at hand. And I know that I have to be the one that's going to win this and solve this for us. And it's like, luckily, he's in this athletic, fit body that isn't complete dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He can beat Josiah in the joust and take care of his physical competition. We'll do the mandolin because you're going to just be in isolation and put the hardware together, and then I can just leave you alone, and I know that that's a strength of yours, and we can do that. I think that's their secret. We know who's the straw stirring the drink in this team.
It's just even more of a point to praise Anna. I think that we've seen a lot of people like Jonathan on the race, but most of the time they're compared or they're teammates with other people who also get hot-headed. And they do. They blow up at each other and explode. And her groundedness is really what's holding the team together. It's also interesting to think about what you said about the dead weight, because I do think about some of the father-daughter relationships where the fathers are very much like this, driving, and they don't have the physical ability to keep up. Whereas Jonathan, like as terrible as he is a pretty strong competitor physically, and that's hard to compete with.
That's a great comparison. They're like a father-daughter team, except the father isn't in a 60-plus-year-old body.
Yep.
That's good. We didn't even talk about who won this leg of the race yet. Carson and Jack. 5-night Helsinki, Finland trip. Another first place. Been at the back of the pack. Boom, now they're back in first place.
Josh, you've talked a lot about who is a weak team. In your opinion, this is the strongest team?
They have been consistently strong this whole season, in my opinion.
I disagree. Their car self-driving was horrendous. Carson's pizza making, horrendous.
And they're a needle in a haystack
Disaster
from Nick and Mike from not even being in the race, but they're still in it, and they just came in first. You want to talk about cockroaches? These guys are strong. They can go to the laundry challenge and immediately develop the system, identify what the task is. They can identify the system that needs to happen, and then they execute it.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as it's not something that's literally on their weakness list, aka Carson is the worst cook in America. like, they're gonna be okay.
He wasn't at the Pizza Palooza.
No,
No.
no. Carson, if you need to, you'll be invited to Josh's housewarming 4.0. We'll teach you how to make some pizzas. I'm not surprised by this outcome.
Neither am I. I would prefer to see Alyssa and Josiah win in the end over them, but I would rather see, for sure, Jack and Carson win over Jonathan and Anna or Han and Holden.
Oh,
I agree. I agree. Carson and Jack are likable.
yeah.
They're very likable. You know, they talked about what they would do with the money. They would use it to be able to like live their dream life, which is just being these unapologetically nerdy guys that they are. Probably take pizza making classes because they can. I think I'm rooting for Alyssa and Josiah 1, Carson and Jack 2. I don't know. And then the other two, whatever.
How can we talk about why you don't love Han and Holden? What did they do to you? I think they are so fun and so likable and like
Josh, I don't see it.
they're so funny.
Josh, I don't agree with you.
It's just such a brother and sister relationship.
Ugh.
I think I really am soured by their non-elimination luck, but also you're right. They are the ultimate quintessential brother and sister. Why are you rooting for them?
Of the reasons I said, I think that they are fun to watch. I think that they are also unapologetically themselves. I think that they are underdogs. They we're at the bottom for a lot of the race, and they still never had a first place finish. Their best was they were in second place once, right? So this is a team that has been continuously fighting through and making their way. I think that they are. Yeah, they're brother and sister. I see myself bickering with my sister in them, and I think that kind of just shows who they are.
I think that's probably what it is. I don't have a sister in that way, so it's hard to relate, get on their level. We know why you're not rooting for them.
Ever since they declared themselves Team Asian Swag.
See, but that's it. Like that's what's so funny and ridiculous and dorky about them. Like it's hilarious. They're awesome. They're my number one. They're my number one. Carson and Jack just
They're your number one?
yes, they are. I think that did you see them as they were running to the finish line? They had the biggest smiles on their face and they were laughing the whole way.
You're crazy.
They're so much fun to watch.
You're crazy.
He likes the roller coaster of them.
He
likes the roller coaster. Han, you're operating with race brain. Stop it.
I really like Alyssa and Josiah, but they are just not. It hurts me that they have done so well. But so my number 2 would be Carson and Jack. 3 would be Alyssa and Josiah, and 4 obviously would be Jonathan and Anna.
All right, let's go to the power rankings. So with Brett and Mark going out in 5th place, my number 1 comes off the board. Nicole's number 2. Josh is number 4. We all really like Brett and Mark. We all have them rated highly. But some low numbers come off. I'm still in first with a low score of 19. Josh is 3 behind with 22. And Nicole is in a distant third with 37, still having her number 12, Carson and Jack, and number 14, Han and Holden, available. Gosh, I'm still really bummed out about losing my number 1 team. And all of us lost our number 1 teams. The highest ranked team still available is Josh's number 2, Han and Holden. After next week's first episode, we will likely have our champion of the season 37 power rankings top 3.
If it's Jonathan and Anna or Carson and Jack, I would win. If it's Han and Holden or Alyssa and Josiah, you would win. Wow.
And I have no shot.
Well, no, actually, Because if you lost, oh no, yeah, you don't have any shot. Because you have 14 and 12.
Yeah, you're too far behind.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Nana, you have 8th. So, all right. So it's coming down to the wire. Excited to see how that all plays out. We may have a new champion. We shall see. Let's cross the finish line.
Shocked by the announcement of a 2-episode finale next week.
Yeah.
I just was not expecting that. They did not communicate very clearly when these episodes were being aired. We had to look them up. I thought we had 2 more weeks ahead of us, but it's really only one jam-packed, amazing race week.
I am adding something to my list of things that I need to remember if I'm ever on the race. Thank you, Anna. She was feverishly writing directions from Google Maps, and so I am taking note that in any hotel that we stay in, I will be stealing their pens. Thank you very much.
Not one of the 4 color pens?
Well, maybe, but I don't want to carry the weight of it when we're in Africa. So I'll get it next time we go to a hotel in France. I'll steal some extra pens.
That's good.
Thank you.
I will cross the finish line and say that I was really rooting hard for Brett and Mark. No surprise there. And I will say that it's hard when you watch these shows, any reality show, and you're rooting for one team or one individual, and they make it far, or even if they don't, but you've planted your flag on whoever you're rooting for island, and then they get out. And it sucks. It sucks. And when we're talking about like who we're rooting for to win it all, it's hard to just pivot and make a decision on who the next team that I'm rooting for is.
Sorry for your loss.
Thank you. Thank you. Shout out Brett and Mark. Hope to have them on the podcast soon. But that will do it for us here at the ReRACEables Podcast. If you want to listen to all of our previous episodes for this season of The Amazing Race, tribalcouncilblog.com or on our YouTube channel, just search up Tribal Council Blog. They'll all be there. Appreciate the support. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe there. Survivor 48 fans, be sure to check out my blog, also tribalcouncilblog.com, blogging Survivor 48. Only a couple weeks left with that as well. Then we're going to round out both seasons pretty soon here. It's almost over. But until then, we will be back next week. It's going to be a busy week. 2-night finale for The Amazing Race. Until next time.